The first stop in doing the Danube bike trail was to fly into Munich and then take a train over to Passau, Germany. Catullus is a small five-room boutique hotel with a lockbox outside with two keys and an envelope for you. Inside, no one to greet you at the reception desk. You have a key to the front door and one to your room with your room number on it. But next morning, the owner, cook, checkout clerk, and maid is there with breakfast. Passau, Germany is located where two major rivers meet, the Inns and the Danube. As you can see on the City Hall, the Danube is flooded. Apple strudel with ice cream and a cappuccino. Where the inn meets the Danube and continues eastward to Vienna. Tomorrow I'll be on the far shoreline, headed downstream with the tour boat. The day before leaving, I picked up my rental bike, had a handlebar bag and two panniers in the back for all of my belongings. And on the route, we see these little R1 signs along the way. The first day's ride is from Passau, Germany to Insel, Austria. But first we got to get up over this bridge. And we leave town looking back on Passau. The Danube has many dams with locks so boats can pass through. Here we are looking back on the dam. Europe has a network of 19 bicycle paths called Eurovelo. I'm on Eurovelo 6, which stretches from the French Atlantic coast to the Black Sea, and I'm on the section that runs through Germany and Austria, between Passau, Germany, and Vienna. In order to be a Eurovelo trail, you have to have a certain amount of it paved, and most of it has to be dedicated to bikes only. Very little automobile traffic to no automobile traffic. There are Eurovelo 6 bicycle paths on both sides of the Danube, just about the entire length from Passau, Germany to Vienna. There's a few spots that are as impassable on one side or the other, and typically you take a ferry boat to cross the Danube or bridge. At the end of today's ride, I'll be taking a ferry boat to get from the left bank to the right bank. As you can see, I was on a section where the bicycle path shared the highway. And an R1 sign says turn here. And as you can see, I'm searching for just exactly where to go. And I must have spotted something that doesn't show up in the video that says this is the way. After riding over 20 miles, we come to our first ferryboat crossing to get from the left bank to the right bank. As you can see, we are now on the right bank, entering the section of the Danube called the Schlogen Loop, where the Danube makes kind of a double horseshoe pair of bends. Uh, the stop for this evening is going to be just beyond that bend to the left that you see, and just beyond then the bend to the right that follows it. There are 3 ferries in this area, 2 that take you from the left bank to the right bank or back, and a third one that stays over on the left bank to take you by an impassable area that's on the left bank. Insel, the end of the trail for today, staying at Gasthaus Reisinger. Today's ride is exactly what I had hoped it would be. 25 miles on protected bike paths, following the Danube in a beautiful setting through small villages. Gasthaus Rising here sits right on the Danube River. My room is upstairs, far left. Uh, Zimmer free, room available. This sweet lady cooked the evening meals for about 20 guests. The second day was a 25-mile ride from Insel to Ottensheim. I needed to cross from the right bank over to the left bank because of an impasse on the left bank. There are two ports on that side. He dropped a bunch of passengers off at the upstream port, then turned around and went straight back to the right bank where he'd picked me up to pick up his girlfriend. His girlfriend got on board and he drove her out to the middle of the river so she could pick up a basketball out of the water. Finally, we were underway, headed towards the downstream port on the left bank until I caught lunch of green and white asparagus. This is Ottensheim, and no, I didn't stay here. This fountain was an illusion. More water is pouring out of it than pouring into it, and it seems to be flowing uphill. The third day was a 24-mile ride to Mauthausen with a side trip up to the Mauthausen Memorial Concentration Camp. Linz is a big industrial city on the right bank. I chose to skip it. But I stopped for banana split before the long climb up the hill. The parking lot for the Mauthausen Memorial Concentration Camp. A beautiful rural country setting on the outside of the walls. Hell on earth inside of the walls. This area sits on the bluff overlooking the quarries. Countries who have lost people at this concentration camp have been allowed to construct memorials in the honor of those who died. The cliff overlooking the quarry. Some prisoners were just pushed off the cliff. On the left side of this picture in the quarry, you can see a guard station. Prisoners were shot that fell down. The exercise yard outside the barracks, you can see the barracks in the background. Inside, this was full of bunk beds, 2 to 3 prisoners in each bed. the door to the gas chamber. You can see a little porthole for the guards to watch the prisoners as they died within this room. Crematorium right outside the gas chamber. A short ride down the hill into Mauthausen to stay at Peterzell's B&B, complete with a cold water foot bath and a cat. The next day was a train ride into Vienna for a 1 week stay. The trains are fast, efficient, and very comfortable. The day after arriving in Vienna, I had to return the bike to a little town called Klosterneuburg, about 8 miles away. But being totally lost and not knowing my way around this big city, what was an 8 mile ride ended up being a 16 mile ride, taking an extra hour. The subway system is very nice. You just buy a ticket and walk on. There are no turnstiles. 1 week ticket cost me €17. The Vienna Opera House. A ticket runs anywhere from 100 to €300. Der Anchor clock. It was actually 9:45 when I took the picture, but it said 8:45. Nobody had sprung it forward. I suspect they didn't know how to. Hundertwasser House, apartment complex, a combination of art and architecture, built around 1980. The level of busking in Vienna is way higher than back home. St. Stephen's Cathedral in Passau, Germany. The night I was there was a concert, quartet of cellist, flutist, uh, organist, and a soprano. Karlskirche, Vienna. St. Stephen's Cathedral, Vienna. Afterwards, we were invited up to the balcony to see the 300-year-old organ and a demonstration on how it works.
Inside, so also here pipes are sounding.
For really big pipes, you need really big bellows. These babies take turns inhaling and exhaling. Vienna is known for its coffee and its coffee shops. My first stop was Cafe Central. As you walk in the door, you see this display of sweet treats. The place has been here for 150 years and once was frequented by Freud. The next day was the famous Demo pastry shop for their Sachertorte, basically a chocolate and apricot cake. Later, a trip to Fenster Cafe, truly a hole in the wall, that offered cappuccino in a waffle cone. And my favorite, because of its comfortable atmosphere, Cafe Hawelka. The Kunsthistorisches Museum is much like the Louvre in Paris, only on a much smaller scale. This is the grand entry hall to the various levels and a cafe dining area. Several rooms full of ancient coins. 2,000-year-old coins of Augustus Caesar and Caligula.